parents also have a very key role in this.
Yeah.
They have their daughters.
Yeah.
They marry them to gentlemen. I think no parent should marry your daughter to a lazy man.
Yeah.
You understand? No parent should marry your daughter to a man who is a weak man, more or less, someone who doesn't work.
Yeah.
You understand? And I think
become a liability to the family or to society.
And if you look at our great grandparents, these are people who used to farm.
Yeah.
You know, I think parents also have the responsibility to educate their young ones about hard work.
Yeah.
You know, but most of them are good farmers still now.
Yeah, you know,
but the children can't.
Remember this hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Kullu mawludin yuladu ala al-fitra, fa abawahu yuhawidanihi aw yunasiranihi or the other way around." That since the one that Islam came up to the day of judgment, anybody who's born is born in this natural order. It's a natural way of life. So now, where you end up depends on how your parents mold your life, how they direct you. And the responsibility of the parent to take care of the best interests of their children, you are quite right, it goes up to that level of marriage. Before you let your daughter go, particularly women, we must be especially caring and observant of protecting our women's interest. So before you let your daughter go, if things go the way they should go, you make sure that you keep them in safe hands. Yes, people are not the same.
I'm not calling you, sir, doctor. Now, this generation, most girls are working. Maybe it's not even their choice, but because the husbands are not doing anything. Yeah. Do you understand? Now, you marry your daughter to someone just because, you think your daughter is a burden. You just want to give her out. Do you understand? You give her out to someone who is very lazy.
In fact, ideally, what the parents will do, let them educate their girl children. Educate them well, train them, give them good moral training, good moral education, and make sure they're educated.
Give them quality.
You empower them. Give them quality, relevant education. Empower them.
Yeah, I know. If you have a qualitative daughter,
yes,
you wouldn't be worried about her marriage.
No. If the marriage is okay, fine. If there's any problem, she can still survive.
Yeah.
Although that doesn't mean that the educated woman should always
sit at home and not
disrespect marriage. Marriage is a sacred duty for Muslims.
Yeah.
Marriage is a fundamental socio-economic institution of Islam. Every Muslim, able Muslim, must get into a marriage situation. Being financially, politically, and socially empowered doesn't mean that you should neglect the marital home. Yeah. If you neglect marriage and the marital home,
that's also another form of ideology that somehow. But if you train your daughter with the right, behavior, with the right morality, I think they will not be a liability to you.
No, they will not be a liability. Inshallah.
Okay. We move to the other question, doctor. Now that the Ramadan is fast approaching, I think, what do you have to say to the business community?
First of all, we must revisit the message of Ramadan. Essentially. Ramadan is a month of rahmah, mercy. Ramadan carries so many moral teachings and moral values. You understand? And this is the month in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give directives that all the gates of Jahannam, all the gates of hellfire are shut down. Everything about it, from the beginning to end, is about mercy. So therefore, we, the believers in God, the way we relate to others, the way we conduct our daily life, must reflect this message of Ramadan. If we are true Muslims, if we are true believers in God, there's no point you calling yourself Muslim and Alaji, you go out and exploiting people in the month of Ramadan. I understand there are people who have already started. I had a complaint, I'm not sure, because in fact I've been asked several times. People have been asking the Islamic viewpoint on those of us, businessmen who hurt some basic commodities. Like onion, potato. Yeah. Sometimes, thank God, I think sugar is still out.
But sugar is expensive.
Very expensive.
1,500. Someone told me today.
Good.
They are expensive.
These are the basic commodities that people will have to rely on to break their fast. Now you increase the profit to the detriment of the believers.
And the bakers also, bread bakers, will also reduce the size of the bread also.
Yes.
That's all part of bad practice.
Bad behavior. I think we must be very honest to accept the contribution of the Kanilai bakery farm, and that is why you see the Fullers and the Jolas and the Jarankas, they're in long queues because the size remains good, and then the price come down. In fact, not even the usual price, but come down to about $3. And I hope they will do it this year, this Ramadan too.
There used to be a proverb. They said if you want to give out your daughter to marry, your daughter to someone, for him to marry her, give your daughter to someone who eats too much. It's a Mandinka proverb because the gentleman who eats too much will try to fend and provide some. So that bakery naturally will provide very big breads because it's owned by people who eat too much. So, So, but I think we have to also commend the initiative of government. Last time they were saying meat will be provided at cheap prices at the different places. I think this is a very, very hiding place for poor people. You understand? Who cannot earn too much, but yet want to live, decently during the whole month of Ramadan.
Particularly meat.
The meat.
Because it's usually difficult for the poor people to lay hand on meat. So if you make meat more accessible, easily accessible to them in the month of Ramadan, you are contributing to
some 2-3 days ago, I read a press release and it was saying that the government was trying to do something in that regard, that meat will be provided in abundance. I think that's a very, very good move that the business community should emulate from the president, because this is the time when people should look for reward and not for monetary profit.
And you know, after all, whether it is the president or the business people, everybody, every individual human being is going to be individually and personally held responsible. So if the president or any other good businessman or the businessman or any other good believer is making Ramadan easy for Muslims, he's doing it for himself or for herself, and you better follow. So in other words, what we expect from our businessmen and what we expect from every good believer is to make fasting, to make Ramadan easy for the believers. Either by, if you have anything to contribute, you can contribute. If you have anything to give away, give away. But because of the fact that you're involved in dealing with basic commodities, make sure, well, naturally, Abu Bakr, the essence of doing business, like I always say, is to earn profit out of it. The message is not that you should abandon your profit. Because if you abandon your profit, you are paying rent, you are paying some tax, you are paying some other liabilities. If you don't have profit, the business will fall down. So that's not the objective of the discussion. The objective of the discussion is to be reasonable. You understand? Do not overcharge people. Don't exploit people.
Don't hoard.
And avoid over profiteering, because if you excessive profiteering can lead to Satan's intervention. And once Satan intervenes, something that you don't like will happen. Either the animal will be spoiled, or disease or sickness will come, or something else that will come that you don't like. And it may end up diverting the substantial part of your earning to something, to somewhere else that you will never want to put your money there. So therefore, it is very important for Muslims to make sure that, to remember that the spirit of Ramadan, the message of Ramadan is Rahmah. It's a very, very important moral training institution, Ramadan. Be merciful, be cooperative, be kind to people. Let's be considerate to others. Let's remember that many people are poor, and they're all human beings. And we are duty bound individually, forget about society and the state, individually. Each of us is duty bound to help those that at least you can help. That's very important for everybody to remember.
Even with the even with the kobo.
Yes.
Give it
whatever you can give it for the sake of God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't mind the amount that you give. What is important is to make sure you give in good faith, give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Somebody can give 1,000. Somebody can give even 100,000. But there is somebody who can only give $1 or $5. What you can give for the sake of God, and make it as frequent as possible, and make sure you maximize your earning. Because Ramadan is a very, very easy period to earn, because the good deeds are multiplied. You know, the normal standard is 1 by 10. But every good deed you do is multiplied by 10. Man ja'a bil hasanati that's the normal standard of rewarding in Islam. But this is completely different in Ramadan. It can be multiplied 700 times, million times. how much or how many times going to be multiple is not specifically stipulated. But they are told definitively in various definitive rulings of Sharia